Oh my God, come on. See, there's no way I could have predicted this.
Do not judge a book by its cover is a phrase that fits martial arts as well. Yet too often we, including myself, take a look at a questionable martial arts scene and immediately decide if it's fake. Yet the truth is not always as obvious as it seems. In order to show how difficult it may be to really judge a book by its cover in martial arts, and to make sure that we would take a closer look before doing it to have the right opinion about things, me and Steven of Steven Strangle's people decided to connect up and to give Steven a challenge. He will be shown only a still image of a questionable martial arts scene and will have to guess A, if it's fake or legit, and B, what the outcome is going to be. To keep things competitive, I will also be ranking Steven by points to see if his Bullshido sense works or not. In order to win the challenge, Steven will have to earn at least 20 points. Let's see how he does. Do you know this one? It's a pretty famous one, but hopefully you don't know.
This doesn't look familiar to me.
Great, awesome. I'm loving this already. So, you're seeing a still shot. There's a guy on the right, on his knees. There's the master on the left. That's all the information I'm going to give you. So what do you think has happened and what do you think is going to happen here?
All right, this is a tough one. First of all, it looks like it was shot on a potato. The quality's a little shaky. I see M1 Global News. Now, M1 Global is an MMA organization, so there's a little bit of credibility there. But these guys look a little bit like traditionalists. He's on his knees. Now, he can either be bowing or he just got hit in the stomach. I'm going to go and say, I don't know though, Rokas, I think you might be hoodwinking me. Because the easy thing to say is the guy on the right on his knees is hurt, but I don't know. Maybe he's charging up some sort of Bullshido power. I'm going to go ahead and say the guy on the right on his knees is winning, or is going to win. I'm going to say it's legitimate martial arts.
Okay, legitimate martial arts?
Yes, guy on the right's going to win.
Ready for the truth?
Let's see it. Oh my God, come on. See, there's no way I could have predicted this. I didn't even think he was in a fight. Oh, look at this, the energy. Unfortunately, so far Steven received 0 points. But there's another part to this video where he'll have a chance to redeem himself. The story goes that he challenged a fighter to prove that his knockout stuff works. Before you saw the training with his students, and here you're seeing him about to fight this dude who knows how to fight. What do you think is going to happen now? Oh, well, we know. And if any of you guys know where I stand on the scale of real versus fake martial arts, you know for sure we got to go with the guy with the actual martial arts background. And I say actual martial arts in terms of functional, battle-tested martial arts. I'm going to go with the guy on the right. I think he's going to put down a beatdown. So let's say the guy on the right wins. Is it going to last long? No, it's going to go incredibly fast, and I think it's going to be straight punches to the grill. Got it. Let's see. Boom. That's the thing with these guys. I don't know how you can go your whole life and be 100 years old and never have that humbling experience. I feel so grateful that it happened to me at such a young age. I remember my first time sparring a grown man at 13 years old. I had karate experience at the time, and he was 30 something years old. He punched me right in my face. Immediately I realized where I'm at. These guys live their whole lives never getting tested. There's a little bit of a sadness to it as well. I'm sure you see this. Like, it's an old man being emasculated. It's a little bit sad, but at the same time, it has to happen, right? You said a little bit of karate before, but sounds like you were lucky. You weren't delusional, or did you expect your karate to work? I always felt a little bit insecure about the karate. We did a little bit of touch sparring, but I always had this inclination that, man, if things really get hairy, I just didn't have that bulletproof confidence. I wasn't naturally an overtly confident person, so I just didn't feel it until I got into jiu-jitsu. I have this theory, mainly from experience, being a traditional martial artist myself for many years and meeting a lot of traditional martial artists. They trained for like decades and had black belts in schools, but myself and everyone else included, we always had doubts. There was always a sense of, man, I don't really know if this works, but we had so much stuff that we would put on top of that. Yeah, but no, it's gonna kick in once shit hits the fan. Oh, it works when your life is in danger. And we wouldn't really believe it, but there was so much on top where we just kind of try to make up for it. So thus far, Steven received 1 point. Next up, I gave Steven a challenging video to guess from. Just off looking at this image, we got a bunch of guys in white belts, so they're gonna be impressionable. The pants on the guy with his back turned towards us just reeks of Bullshido. And it says neck break throw on the upper left-hand corner, so... Oh shoot, I actually missed that part. So that just sounds a little bit sort of insane to me. I'm thinking the guy with the back turned towards us, he's gonna do some no-touch movement defensively. That's gonna lead to the guy facing us flipping. Bullshido. Oh shit, he's doing decent like actual. Okay. All right, got me on that, Rokas. So what he does, he pummels an arm on the inside, dominates the inside space, cross frames, but this is where it all goes bad. Ready? He didn't posture up. When you're in those tie plum positions, you got to chin up and you got to get your hips in as you're pummeling. But we can just say, okay, at least he has some of the principles. Then he cross frames, great angle to land strikes, etc. But then he does the stone cold stunner. I don't know if you watch wrestling during the Attitude Era, but my idol was Stone Cold Steve Austin. He would kick you in the stomach, he would stun you, and it was obviously make believe it was pro wrestling. But he's doing that. He's turning his back. You never turn your back to somebody. It's just bad. It's just bad. It's one thing if you reach over the bat to grab the belt, or grabbing the far lat if it's a no-gi situation, or being over-under position, even double overhooks, which isn't the best, but to grab the head with a scoop grip is insane. The risk to reward ratio isn't great.
Sometimes these schools, which are still kind of half traditional, half pressure testing, I think they sometimes still fall into the trouble of, oh, when we're pressure testing, we're kind of good, but we still love these old school techniques, which we don't pressure test, but we kind of still train them.
That makes a tremendous amount of sense. And one of the things we do, well, my professor, we subtract what doesn't work and we only stick to what's called high percentage techniques. The issue is these guys aren't subtracting anything. They're not really boiling down the techniques to what's highly effective in a high pressure situation. That only hurts the art, right? Waters it down.
Since there were no touch knockouts in this video, Steven didn't receive any points, but he still has plenty of opportunities to recover.
Oh.
No. What's your first impression?
And the guy on the left, he has somewhat of the proper setup with the board shorts. He has no shirt on. He looks like he's in the proper environment. The guy on the right, they look like they dragged him out of a 1970s nightclub and just threw him in the fucking ring. I don't see this going very good for the poor guy on the right. I think he's going to take a beating. Off. The kid broke right through his energy force field.
Finally, Steven guessed exactly what's going to happen. As a result, scoring 2 points. But there was still more to this fight, as the Tai Chi master, after taking a lengthy break, came back for round 2, leaving Steven to guess if the master will be able to turn the tables.
No, I think now he's frightened. He's probably going to be a little bit more jittery and maybe overcommit, because now he knows his whole life has been a lie. So I think he's going to get caught just as quick.
Ooh.
Oh, he's holding on a little bit better.
Yeah,
now he's using actual fight techniques now.
He's trying something, right?
There we go. Oh, push kicks. Listen, now he's actually... Oh, he ran into the right hand. It's interesting because he resorted to actual fighting, but the issue is he didn't have the actual ability to do it. When you don't train actual functional martial arts, you don't have anything to resort to. He tried to resort to reaching out in this sort of realistic way, and he just left his chin exposed. He walked right into a right hand, and honestly, I don't enjoy that stuff. I know people are like, oh, he deserved it. What do you mean he deserved it? An old man who doesn't know better, who lived a life in a certain way, deserves to get knocked out? I mean, I wish there was an easier way to teach this older man, but sometimes you got to throw him in the lion's den and just, there's no other way. I mean, he stepped in here, Rokas, thinking that he was gonna win. Think about how delusional you have to be.
It doesn't mean that he was like a bad in regards to martial arts. He probably spent decades working his ass off. He put in the work, he just did the wrong thing. We don't know his personality, whether he's arrogant or not. Maybe he wasn't even. He stepped in, he trained a lot, and I think people maybe sometimes forget that that deserves respect as well. It's not just, oh, he's delusional, he's arrogant, and he deserves it.
I agree 100%. We demonize these guys, but again, to have the ignorance actually get in there is I really believed it.
Steven earned another point by guessing the winner, but there were more challenging videos up ahead to guess from.
I don't know. This looks like it could be real proper. Not Kyokushin, is it? No, they're grappling over there maybe in the back. So is it judo? I don't know. I'm having a hard time with this one. I think it's going to be real. No Bullshido.
Any guesses technically what may happen?
Head kick. Wow. So he just... Okay.
So you probably haven't bumped into whatever this is, right?
No, off the top of my head, no.
This is the interesting part. This is competitive Aikido.
I've seen one clip before, not this one. Oh, beautiful. Almost like a drop Sayanagi type takedown. That was beautiful. The grip options are unique.
I think they have very specific limitations to grips. Judo favors grips, and I think this is the opposite. They disfavor grips so that you would end up using the force of your opponent and momentum.
Very interesting. It's a nice hybrid style. It's actually great to see some grappling in Aikido that works. Instead of Steven Seagal doing Kimuras with his calves.
Steven guessed right that this was not Bullshido, but he did not guess the right outcome, leaving him with an additional 1 point. Next up, Steven had a chance to get a bonus point, since the video was not Bullshido or no Bullshido, but it's an opportunity to guess what's going to happen exactly next.
Oh man, I think he's gonna kick, either axe kick, or he's going to throw a straight upward kick towards this stick. I'm assuming it's a stick. He's not gonna be able to break it. Oh no, so embarrassing. No.
And then it's there, he gives another shot.
He should have quit when he was ahead. Whoever shared this footage and actually leaked it on the internet is a gem of a person.
In the background, you can hear the coach say, "Give it another shot, Jim."
He's pressuring his student to this arbitrary drill that's not going to make you a better fighter. Is it going to condition your shins? Most likely it's going to actually just hurt you in a way that's going to haunt you for many years. There's a way to condition your shins. Just blasting it like this is not the best way. You also see that there's a Rocky caricature in the corner. Like a cutout, cardboard cutout. There's an identity crisis that this gym is having. If I were to guess, not the best gym to learn martial arts.
Conditioning the shins, I imagine it can be done in better ways.
Yeah, it becomes part of their identity. It gives them a certain toughness to say that, yeah, I rub drumsticks on my shins or things of this nature. But to me, if you're kicking the bag, if you're sparring, if you're kicking and cracking pads, that's all the conditioning that you really need. I don't think you need to be kicking banana trees. Great for Instagram. I'm gonna say it's not a viral post, but is it the most essential? If we're talking about you have a limited amount of time per day to train, how much of your time should be spent conditioning your shins? I would say close to 0.
Steven just earned another point, getting him one more step closer to winning the Bullshido or not Bullshido challenge.
My favorite guy, Vasiliev. I've done a video on this guy.
You know him.
I did a video a while back on Systema. He was the feature character, if you will. He's gonna limp his body. He likes to go really loose, and then he's gonna turn his body sideways to deflect the knife. I wouldn't be surprised if trips the guy and the guy rolls over. That'd be my guess. Oh, limp.
100%
limp.
right.
Limp. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Oh no.
I like the
no. I want to tell you something, Rokas. Aikido guys get on me all the time, and that's fine. But Systema guys, I would argue, are even worse because, this guy's from the Stepnas. You wouldn't last a second. You're built for the ring. He's built for the battlefield. And if you do your research on him, I could be correct. I'm not known for having the best research. But I don't think he's ever served hard time. But Systema guys are the absolute most loyal and brainwashed of any of the people I've dealt with, by far.
There's this thing called appeal to authority, where we believe that something is true just because that person is claimed to be an authority. It's like the Pope said, this means it's true. Like if you're a professional of a certain field, of course it makes more sense that you'll know what works, what doesn't work. But let's say a firefighter can come with some delusions of his own, and then we believe that firefighter is right about dealing with fire in some way, although it's not real, but we believe just because that person is a professional. And that happens with the military. Oh, Spetsnaz use it. That doesn't mean it works. I spoke to some military guys about martial arts, in particular one Navy SEAL. Turns out they know that they won't need martial arts to survive. That's not their primary goal. They have a gun. At most, they need to know how to push a guy away and shoot him.
No, you're 100% on. That's a beautiful way of saying it. We give this credibility based on career professions. It made me reflect on my comment section, and it's always related to where these people have allegedly served.
Right.
But it's never about where he actually battle tested this stuff. And listen, it doesn't take a genius to just look. Be an objective human being with a rational mind. What is the application? We just talked about a guy kicking a stick, right? Not the best use of your time. I would argue that that's more useful than this, limping your body. That's just an objective truth. Anyone rational would argue that.
Steven earned a point by guessing exactly what's going to happen. Now he has another chance to earn one more point at another Systema video.
He's gonna disarm these gentlemen. I can't see clearly if they have anything in their arms, but their hands are below their waist, so I'm assuming they have some sort of weapon. Good luck. With Vasiliev, good luck, because he's gonna disarm anyone that comes at him instantly. Oh, my favorite. My favorite. Oh, I love it. I love the legs, man. I love the legs. So I call this footsie martial arts. He uses his feet. This guy doesn't even have to use his hands. His hands are below his waist. He's using his legs. And people got in those comments and said, you can see these movements being used in the UFC. We're not saying that the kicks won't work. An oblique kick won't work. A kick that hyperextends the leg. What I'm saying is look at the reaction to the kicking and look at Vasiliev's body positioning as he kicks. That's it. Look at this. Are you kidding me? But they're gonna say, oh, Steve, he's hyperextending the knee. But the reactions aren't realistic is my point. Right. This drives me nuts, Rokas. Even the no-touch stuff, I giggle about it, it's funny, but something about this leg-to-leg contact with no hands, it just drives me nuts.
One of my coaches, Matt Thornton, he says, watch the feeder, not the other guy. Watch the person who's attacking and assess how they're attacking versus how the guy does a movement. Because even as you said, the guy may do something which is resembling something which is functional, but then if the other guy is just falling for nothing, they show how they're they're going to attack, that already shows this is not worth the attention.
That's a great observation. To our point, who would react that way to this kind of leg kick situation? It's completely impractical. Let me get this straight. He gets kicked in the knee, he sits down. Look at the reaction of the guy in the yellow. That's theoretically impossible.
Turns out, Steven is an expert at predicting the outcome of Systema videos, earning him another point.
Well, this is Bullshido versus the Shaolin gentleman. I know a lot of Shaolin folks love to talk about this guy as he's the man. I know. He takes a lot of punches, though. I'm not discrediting him. I'm just saying, like, so much of his style is predicated on being mentally strong and being able to endure. I don't necessarily think that that should be something that, it's cool, it's important, it's an important factor, but I think it gets exceptional amount of credit where realistically he should be slipping his head off the center line, moving his feet, things of that nature. I think Bullshido is gonna chop him apart and finish him, but I don't know exactly how.
Actually, just recently I learned that the Shaolin guy, he's actually not even a Shaolin guy. I think that's his promotional material. He's more or less just a kickboxer, but he dressed up like a Shaolin monk and did some stunts to get promotion, and it worked for him. And
hey, great branding. That's cool.
Right, exactly.
Oh, beautiful. Spinning back fist. Yeah. Okay, now we know we're looking at a guy who's just an actual kickboxer. It's a whole different context now.
Right. And unfortunately for Steven, the Shaolin fighter did not get knocked out, leaving him without an additional point. Steven still has a chance to secure a win, but the next video will be a challenging one.
It's hard to go against a guy who has a bright orange shirt like that. I have this feeling like he has this Bruce Lee appeal, like the bent lead leg, the positioning of his hands. But then again, you look at the guy with the satin white shirt, and that's the typical getup of a Bullshido master. So it's hard to really differentiate who's going to get the upper hand. Going against my instinct, I'm going to go with the guy with the satin long shirt. He's going to do some no-touch action.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, they're really going at it. Love it. Oh, the guy in orange is going to sleep this guy. Oh, he's just looking for a lane for that right hand. He's going to land it. Oh, no, they're getting to the grappling phase. We know they both don't know what they're doing there. So, oh, he gets to flank. He gets the head and arm. Katagatami, almost. Oh, they're scrapping here. Oh, he goes for an outside trip. He gets the takedown. Right to side control. Grounding and pounding. I got it right. I was wrong on the method, but
you got it right.
Oh, man. Well, that was a weight advantage for sure. That seemed to play a role. Once they got to the close proximity, he off-balanced the gentleman in the orange. The guy in the orange had the better, faster strikes, but once they got close, you could see he didn't know what was going on. No grappling, it seemed like. His left hand's pulling on the base of the shirt, which is pretty hilarious. But he had a far trap grip, which actually is a legitimate grip. If you can imagine the gi, he'd be grabbing what we call a Korean grip over the center of the back. He forced his opponent's head over his heels and got the off balance. Really good.
These guys, they have some training, but it just seems they never really fought and they didn't expect how a fight really goes.
Exactly. They do their traditional martial arts, whatever they're native to. They probably live in an echo chamber where their values are being echoed back to them. But when the going gets tough, they resort to human nature, which is to wrestle, because we are super chimps. So we grab and we tussle. He went for a basic trip, but that trip, I've been using that since I was 7 years old before I had any training. It's natural to try to trip your buddies in the schoolyard. You try to trip his legs out from under him. Variations of a Sotogari, and these are all basic things you were doing before you knew the terminologies. I don't think that's his skill set. I could be wrong. I think it's just him being opportunistic in the moment.
Well, there was no no-touch action here. Steven guessed right who will win this fight, earning him another point.
You know, my instinct is to go with the guy on the right because he has the no shirt. He looks more the part, but I feel like the guy on the left might be a Kyokushin guy. You have to be careful with that. I've done a lot of sparring with Kyokushin guys when I was coming up as a teenager and in my early 20s. They kick very, very hard. They snake their kicks vertically up your elbow line. They have sneaky ways of getting around your shoulder to your head. I'm assuming that he's a Kyokushin guy. I can be completely off on that. I'm gonna go with the guy on the left for the sake of just being adventurous, and it's not Bullshido. Yeah, he's bouncing up and down like a karateka, looking to blitz. Oh. He's not used to the sensation of fighting here. There we go.
So first of all, your instinct was right, but I appreciate you being adventurous.
He just fell apart, and he signed up for this, which is insane. Still insane to me, the courage of this guy.
That's the respect these guys deserve. They try.
While this fight was not Bullshido, unfortunately, Steven's choice of the fighter was wrong, leaving him with a single additional point.
Oh, this is great. We know this is going to be... This is Aikido as well, I'm assuming?
Yes. You know, such a big part of my life that I had to include multiple Aikido videos.
It wouldn't be a Rokas collaboration without some strong Aikido content. Well, I'm going to say the Aikido sensei is going to absolutely obliterate Gentleman in the Orange, and he doesn't even know. He came in with an orange shirt with his jeans on the mats. He's going to get the treatment right now. He's getting flipped. Ho, how dare you? How dare you? Hey, what are you doing? Are you doing this in front of his students? The disrespect. The disrespect. Snaps him down. Oh, no. He's going to beat this poor Aikido guy up. The guy in orange is horrible as well. He's not very good. Well, it's not even a good rear triangle. He's just crossing his feet. Yeah, that just shows, the Aikido guy didn't know what was going on. He was completely thrown off. And it's funny, the students are laughing. So there's definitely a jovial situation going on the mats. It doesn't seem adversarial at all.
I think it's a demonstration. They're like, oh, let's see what happens. And everyone's like, hey, this is fun. I don't think it's going to be fun for the Aikido sensei after he realizes the fact that he couldn't do anything. As an ex-Aikido guy, I'm pretty sure he expected to do something.
Yeah.
But there we go.
You don't train Aikido at all anymore, Rokas?
No, essentially not. I sometimes, for the sake of it, try to incorporate some Aikido moves. I'm not big into it. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, Rokas, you should reinvent Aikido. You're the perfect person for that. I'm like, dude, I don't even have a purple belt yet. I'm like still figuring out jiu-jitsu. I'm still figuring out striking. There's so many things I still need to figure out. But it's funny because I think for the traditional martial artist, the first instinct you have when you get your ass kicked as a traditional martial artist, you're like, okay, I'm gonna improve my martial art and I'm gonna make it work. Add some boxing, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and then my Aikido is gonna become complete. And I think that's the ego not wanting to let go.
Yes.
My guess is that's one of the reasons why we have these obscure, rare martial arts like Honshin Do, where somebody got their ass kicked and they made their crappy martial art, they added some boxing and judo, and they're like, oh, this is my martial art.
I'm assuming you have subscribers that are Aikido guys that are still loyal to Aikido that maybe are judgmental of you leaving. Is that common that you get people that are saying, oh, you should have kept doing Aikido. I liked you more when you were the Aikido guy?
Initially I had a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people were like, oh man, Rokas, you changed. I liked you so much. And now you're like this regular MMA dude. You look the part. But I think some years passed already since I made that transformation. And I think people still see that essentially I'm still a nice guy. I still try to be objective. And I think most people accepted it. I don't get that hate as much anymore. It's like, no, I'm the same guy, I just look better.
Yeah, exactly. I got
without
you.
the ponytail. I know some fighting now. I guess I feel more masculine too, because the whole spirituality, it expects you to be sensitive and very listening and spiritual. And I think that's, for a man, actually, that's not really great. It's good to know those skills, but you need to like balance both sides. I feel I'm more balanced now. It seems for you, your martial arts journey, early on, you got on the right foot.
Yeah. Like I said, I did Shotokan karate for a while. I immediately realized I just didn't feel confident, and even used to ask my sensei about jiu-jitsu school. He was not discouraging of it. Obviously, he doesn't want to lose money, but he was sort of like, oh, well, they have a gym, but it's in Hawthorne, New York. I didn't even have a car. We grew up in South Yonkers, didn't have money, so that wasn't even an option. But I knew in my heart of hearts, I was already interested in jiu-jitsu because I saw this skinny Brazilian, Royce Gracie, beating guys like Dan Severn, the Olympic level wrestler. And I was just like, how is this guy skinny, grabbing people, falling backwards? I couldn't compute this in my head. So I desperately wanted to train it. But I guess I was just very curious about this thing. Because if you look at jiu-jitsu without ever seeing the UFC, you would think it's Bullshido. Like Brazilian jiu-jitsu looks like bullshit. He falls on his back. It doesn't even look real. Like, why would you put yourself in this position? To answer your question, I got that sussed out of me very, very quickly. And I was also idolizing Muhammad Ali and his brashness at a young age as well, and the way he boxed. I was always on my way towards those sorts of martial arts pretty early on.
It seems that some people are just naturally drawn more towards the functional, and they're much quicker at converting themselves. You were like, I want the real stuff, and this feels questionable. But then there are guys like me where I did want to learn to fight. I did want to learn to defend myself, but I was also still on that sensitive, kind of more keeping to myself. I was drawn to the mystic. I was drawn to the samurai, superpowers. I was always into that stuff. I wanted to find functionality in traditional martial arts. And I think that's a story of many of these Aikido guys, karate guys, whatever. There's a type of person where they want functionality, but usually they're also like an anime geek. They want that supernatural to work, until either they get lost in it and don't accept the truth, or they get the hard truth further down the road. It seems like there are these two types of personalities.
And you think about the household environment you're raised into, the environment in terms of your neighborhood plays a role, the dynamics in your schools. I had situations that made it so that, man, if I'm weak, man, it's going to be a rough road for me. I kind of don't have an option because these kids are going to kick my ass at school, or I'm going to get robbed here. The home environment was a little sketchy as well for me in terms of just the environment was rough. So I didn't have the option to be fantastical as much as I probably wanted to. I loved the old Bruce Lee movies like Enter the Dragon. I loved Dragon Ball Z, but I couldn't go completely into it because there was always that nagging fear of like, I'm going to get embarrassed in school. So early on, I wanted to just make sure that, okay, once I got to high school, I was like, all right, I can strangle the whole school. Like, there's no one in the school that can beat me in a fight. Because at that time, I was boxing, I was doing this already. So, and I think I became a better person because I learned those techniques so young. You know, guys go into their 20s and 30s, they're completely insecure and they become bad people. And when they do finally learn how to fight, they're actually just assholes that know how to fight now. So I think learning how to fight young, or at least at a decent age, is a good thing. But you're a different case because you've always been the same person. So you're adding these techniques on top and these disciplines on top, but it's not interfering with your character at all. It's just probably making you a more confident person, I'm assuming. A more centered person.
Right. 100% relate to what you're saying. But even though my situation was to some degree similar, well, I had a very good household, but I was growing up in a rough city, so I was still exposed to a lot of violence. So I wanted to learn functional martial arts, but still my nature wanting to go through the supernatural to learn to defend myself was getting in my way. And also too, like we spoke about some of these guys in the videos, they're not as much as the bad guy as much they're potentially a victim to whatever happened to them. And that was my case as well. My instructor, when I was attacked and I couldn't defend myself using Aikido, he blamed me. He was telling me like, oh, you're not training enough. You should come to training more. You should spend more hours training. You should train more hardcore. And I was believing that, and I was investing even more time into Aikido, thinking, okay, eventually I'll get there. So I was kind of being tricked into following that path, although I wanted functionality alongside the whole fancy stuff. It took me a while to get there, but when I got to it, I definitely became much more secure and confident. Like beforehand, I wanted to find a peaceful resolution with violent guys, not only because I was Aikido and I wanted a peaceful resolution, but a lot of it was because internally I wasn't confident, probably subconsciously realized I will get my ass kicked. So I was like, hey guys, let's be peaceful. And then a friend of mine, he says, you can't really be a pacifist unless you know how to fight. If you don't know how to fight, you're not a pacifist. You don't have a choice to be a pacifist. You're just the guy who's avoiding a fight. But if you can kill someone and then you choose not to kill that person and you're like, hey man, you know, let's play it cool. I could kill you, but let's not do this. Let's go drink a beer. Now you're a pacifist. Now you're a good guy. And I think when you have the capacity to, and you know that you can defend yourself, obviously no one is invincible, but still you have that ability to fight. I think it's so much easier to be secure, to decide to be peaceful and cool about things because you don't have to worry about it. You don't need to be jumpy.
1000% spot on. But the guys who like overtly avoid it because they're pacifists, they're just okay with being victims. They have to accept that and hope that no one comes along and wants to take advantage of them.
Unfortunately, Steven wasn't right about the Aikido sensei flipping the wrestler, leaving him with no points. But there was still one more video in this round to go. By the way, this is one round out of 2, with Steven guessing Bullshido or not Bullshido. If you'll want to see the other round and to know the final score, check out the other part of the video on Steven's channel after finishing this one.
Let's see what you learned.
Yeah, I still can't resist. I gotta go against this guy in the white. When I see the white disco outfit, I have to go against it. So I'm gonna go for the gentleman on the right. I say knockout again. I'm gonna go knockout guy on the right because the guy on the left seems to be a Bullshido master. Come on, Muay Thai guy, don't let me down. Beautiful, slept him, slept him.
In order to find out the final score, click on this video right here to see the next round of Steven guessing Bullshido or not Bullshido videos. Until I'll see you in the next video, thank you for watching, and as always, I wish you to own your journey.